initialized. Now, of course, I named the variable so that you would understand. It doesn't have to be named anything specific to be initialized. You could have named it cat and it still initialized it to 3. I just did that so you would understand better that it's initialized, because as soon as I declared the variable, I made it equal 3. Okay, so right away, if I print this out, if I print out int whole number initialized, it would come out as 3. Okay, this would come out probably as an error, because right now it's actually equals null, which means that equals nothing. And a lot of times you'll have compile errors when you do not initialize a variable when you go to use it. So in other words, if you don't initialize this first and you go to use it, like print it out, it'll give you an error. And it'll say there's something wrong, there's no value. Okay, so now the next thing I'm moving on to is a Boolean data type with the variable Boolean check value. Okay, just like before, I didn't assign it a value right away. Okay, so this one needs to be assigned. Okay, and then down here I did the same thing. I created another variable, and this time I initialized it. Like I said, it either equals true or false. And I'd like you to notice too, all keywords within the programming language will be lit up blue, as you can see. Anything that's not part of a keyword in the language is pink, which is the color I chose. It's my favorite color. Anyway, moving on. As I said, this is initialized to true. Okay. And then we move on to double. Same thing. Another variable that is declared. It's just that simple. I mean, you use the data type. It's a keyword. You can see it's blue. Alright, and then the variable name after it. C++, I like to add that you see the semicolon at the end. This has to be at the end of every variable declaration and pretty much everything that you do besides if statements and loops. Okay, and that'll be explained later in later videos. Like I said, okay, double precise initialized. Okay, as you see here, I initialized it with a decimal value. Now, I don't think you necessarily actually have to use a decimal number, but it allows you to do math. Like, say if I use the whole number and then cut it and I divided it by 2, it would return a decimal number instead of just trying to round to the nearest the nearest ones within the table. Okay, now creating a string, as you can see, this is not laid up as a keyword in C++. Other languages it would, because in this language it is actually not considered a data type. It's actually considered I'm looking for the word. It's actually a created data type, a enumerated data type. I think that's what they would refer to it as. And enumerated means that you created it yourself. You basically told it what to be. And the best way to look at it is up here. I didn't actually create it. There's a header, is what they call it. This actually leads to a library and tells it what to do. I'm not going to go into depth about that. I'm just going to tell you that this is how it works. Okay, string, I create same thing, use it the same way. You have your data type and your variable, same thing. You just got to remember in C++ to include this. I'll go into it a little bit. Okay, break it down. Every string is actually a char. Okay, it's an array char. Like I was saying earlier, char is only one letter. Okay, so basically it takes a word, like I created here, hello, and it breaks it down into single char variables. Okay, so it would take, if I had to explain arrays better, array would be like from 0 to whatever you decide. Okay, say if I had an array of 10, or in this case, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 letters in this. This would actually equal an array of 6, because like I said, every string has a 0 at the end to tell it where the end of the string is. Okay, so I would have char 0 would equal H, char 1 would equal E, char 2 would equal L, char 3 would equal L, char 4 would equal 0 or O, and char 5 would equal 0, telling it where to end in the char. Okay, so it's telling it that's the end of the string. So basically it adds that extra spot so that when it is converted into a char that it knows where to stop. Alright, so when it hits 0 it knows it's null and it's time to end. Okay, so that's how it works. I mean, if you want to learn more about it, go be my guest, go into it, learn more about it. Okay, now as I go on, I kind of had to explain what cout stood for. Cout is the same as print. Okay, so when I say cout, it means print the information. In other words, print the variable. Okay, and as I go down here, I'm actually printing out the values now. Okay, you see, these are the variables that I declared up top. In other words, I created them, declared, same thing. Okay, so I use the keyword. This is actually still keyword, even though it's in pink. Some things that include a library to whatever would actually not show up as a keyword. Okay, so really, cout comes from this namespace that I'm using, which I'm not going to go into depth about that either. I mean, there's a lot to learn. You guys just got to spend the time on it. Using namespace std, it's telling you basically everything that's inside of std is things like cout, cin, basically lets you transfer information in and out. It's basically just to print and input values into variables. So in other words, I could use cin to put a value inside of a variable, and it would look something like this here. Cin, cin, and then inward, like the greater than symbols will be facing the cin because it's going that direction, it's going in. Int whole number. So now, basically, I'm going to ask, what it's going to do is it's going to prompt the user to put a number in. So when I use something like this, I might say cout, please enter a number value, since it's an integer. And then I would end the line, as I was getting into later here. I was going to tell you that endl actually stands for end line. There's a lot of these other operators that you can use along with cout and cin, the std namespace. There's r, which would actually be like a \r, which actually returns to the beginning of the line that it started on. There's an n, which actually goes to the next line, same thing as endl, really. And it just keeps going on here. I guess an apostrophe there, or an apostrophe semicolon. Okay, so really, like I said, everything has to have that semicolon at the end of it, or it's going to cause errors in C++. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this because it's just going to make things more confusing. But that explains the std. As you can see, OStream, output stream is what it stands for. I don't know how. We're just going to skip over that for now. I'm sure it'll be more explained later in later videos. Okay. But as I was saying, okay, right here I'm actually printing out the integer value of int whole number, and then I'm printing out the value of int whole number initialized. So it's pretty much the same. I'm just printing the variable. So you do it all the same for every type of variable, every data type. You can do it the same, and it'll print the value. Okay, and down here, this basically just pauses the screen. Don't worry about that for now. Return 0 tells the program when to stop in C++, and you have a return value that is an integer. That is for later. There's a lot to that too, so just variables and data types are the basics. I hope you learned something from this. I hope it helped. This was Evil D with this first video, and I will be recording more later. If you have any questions, just post them along with this video on the forum. And hopefully other programmers will help me out with this, because I really don't have a lot of time. I am at a university right now. I'm learning game programming. So I will understand 2D and 3D game programming in the end here. So hopefully I'll be able to help you guys out a lot. And I will create as many videos as I can as I go through this. Just enjoy, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's how you learn. I mean, I see there's a lot of negative people on this forum, but just don't listen to them, man. Just do your thing. Alright. Take care. LMCN.